Hi everyone, my name is Virginia. My name is Kayla, and welcome to our video. So in this video, we will discuss the flowchart and pseudocodes problems that have been given.
So without further ado, let's start from question number 1. The question number 1, the program receives input of two integers from the user. The output is the larger integer entered by the user. So if the user input two number, there is number 3 and 4, the output will be number 4. So we have this flowchart in here. We use this shape as the sign of the start, and then the flowchart asks the user to input the first number and the second number, and one as the first one, and then and two as the second one. And then the flowchart uh, use this decision to ask, is the first number larger than the second number? If yes, then print n1 or the first number, and if no, then print the second number, and then the flowchart stop. So this is the pseudocode. Input n1 and input n2. If n1 larger than n2, then print n1. Else print n2. And if. So now let's continue to question number 2. In this question, the program receives two input of integers from the user. And then after receiving those inputs, the program gives outputs in the form of the largest odd integer entered by the user. But it should be noted that there is a possibility that there are no odd numbers, or we can say that number 1 and number 2 is not an odd number. So this is the flowchart. So in this flowchart, we start with the shapes, and then using the shapes as the previous number to ask the user input two numbers, n1 and n2. And then use this decision, is n1 modulo 2 equal to 1? If yes, is n2 modulo 2 equal to 1? If yes, is n1 greater than n2? If yes, print n1. And if in this part, if n1 modulo 2 not equal to 1, this decision is n2 modulo 2 equal to 1. If yes, print n2. So if all the numbers input by the user, there's no odd numbers, the program will running to this part. So this program output will be 0. There's a sign, no odd number.
So after making that flowchart, we can make the pseudocode next. This is the start. So we ask the user to input n1 and n2 or as the first number or second number, and then the decision is, it means if. So if n1 mod 2 equals to 1, then the pseudocode as again if n2 mod 2 equals to 1, and then another if n1 larger than n2, then and then the pseudocode will print n1. But if the n1 not larger than n2, the pseudocode will print n2. And then this else part is for this if. So if the n2 mod 2 not equal to 1, the pseudocode will print the n1. And if, and then we have another else in here. So this else is supposed to be for this part. So else if n2 mod 2 equals to 1, then print the n1. Else print 0. 0 means there is no odd number. And if for this one, and then and if for the
if in the first one.
So we continue to number 3. The number 3 program receive input of 3 integer from the user, and then the output is the largest integer entered by the user. So number 3 is same like number 1, but in this problem the user have to input 3 numbers.
Okay. Uh, so let's see the flowchart for this problem. First of all, of course, we start the flowchart and then ask the user to input three number n1, n2, and then n3. And then as we can see, there are many branches in here. The first one is the decision. We use this decision to ask, is the first number larger than the second number? If yes, we ask again, is number one, the first number larger than number third? Why we do this? Because we already know that the first number is larger than number 2. So we ask again, is the first number larger than the third number? If yes, then that means n1 is the largest number. Then we print the n1. And then we go back to this branch, this decision. We ask if the first number larger than the third number. If the first number not larger than the third number, that means we will print the number 3. Why is that? Because we already know that n1 is larger than n2. That means n1 n3 will be larger than number 2.
So this is the pseudocode for the problem number 3. Input n1, n2, and n3. If n1 larger than n2, then if n1 larger than n3, then print n1. Else, if the n1 is not larger than n3, we will print now n3. And else, if n2 larger than n3, then print n2. Else, print n3. And if. So if n2 larger than n3 happen because of if is n1 not larger than n2.
So we will continue to question number 4. So in this question, the program asks the user to input three integers number. Uh, but in this one, the output will be the largest odd integer entered by the user. But also, it should be noted that there is a possibility that there are no odd numbers among that three numbers.
So we start the flowchart and then use these shapes to ask the user input n1, n2, and n3. And we initialize 0 and store it to the max. We use decision to ask, is n1 modulo 2 equal to 1? If yes, store n1 to the max. There's no difference if the result of this decision yes or no, because it will be going to this part. And ask again, is n2 modulo 2 equal to 1? If yes, is n2 larger than max? If yes, max, this we start n2 with max. It's same like the previous. There's no difference if the decision this have result yes or no because we'll be going in here. We ask again, is n3 mod 2 equal to 1? If yes, n3 larger than max. If yes, store n3 to the max. And then print max. So if the user inputs the number and all the number is even number, the output will be 0 because it will going straight in here, 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 and here. So will be print max.
and the max will be 0 because we have initialized at the beginning, and then the flowchart is stop.
Okay, now so this is the pseudocode. We input the n1, n2, n3 as the first, second, and the third number, and then we store 0 to the max. And then we change from the flowchart. Decision will be changed to if then in the pseudocode. So if n1 mod 2 equals to 1, then we store n1 as the max. And then we end if, and then we continue to if on the second part. Why? Because no matter if we go to this part first or maybe don't go to this part, we will always go to the second decision. That's why we end the if in the first decision and then start new if for the second decision. So if n2 mod 2 equals to 1, then it asks again if n2 larger than max, then we store n2 to the max. So I will explain it a little bit. So if we know that n2 is odd number, and then we ask is the second number is larger than the max we put before. If yes, then that means the second number will be the max number. And then we end the if like the previous one. We end also the if in here because we know it will always go to the next decision. So this is the next decision. If n3 mod 2 equals to 1, then it asks again if n3 larger than max, then we store n3 to the max like the previous one. And if for this one, and then also and if for this one, and then we print the max part.
We continue to number 5. The question number 5 is the program receive an input of an integer n, and the program asks the user to enter n positive integer. The output is the larger integer entered by the user. It should be noted if the user enter a negative integer. In this case, needs to be handled by the program by ignoring the number. For example, the user input first number with number 5 and then ask the user to input 5 numbers again. Example number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. The output will be number 5 because the larger integer is 5. Because this will be noted if the user enter a negative integer to ignoring the number. So if the user input first number with number 5 and the program asks user to input number again with 5, if the first number user input is 2 and the second number is -1, the user have to input another number because the second number is not a positive number. This program will ask again and again until the user input the positive integer.
So we have the flowchart here. First, we start the flowchart, and then we ask the user to input an X number. And then we initialize the max and the counter. First, we store 0 to max and 0 to counter. The counter is supposed to give limitation to the user. So, like the question before, we ask the user to input another number as many as what they type from the X number. So this counter works to give limitation so that the user didn't give larger number than they input before.
And then if the counter is not larger or equal to the x, the program will ask the user to input their second number, or let's just say their y number. And then we check, is y larger than 0? If it is not larger than 0, like the question, we have to ask the user to input another number. So we don't count that as the output later. So we will go back again to this and then ask again the y number, and then check again the y number, is it larger than 0? If yes, then we ask, is the y number or the number that the user just put is larger than max. So if we compare it to the first number, that means we compare the y number to the max, where is it 0 before. If yes, then we will store that to uh, y store to max. But if we already have, let's just say, two number, that means we will compare the first number and then the second number, and then the larger one will be stored again to the max. And then after these two complete, we will plus the counter, because we know that means that the number is positive number. So and it will ask again, if the counter is already uh, equals to the x, then we print the max and then it stops.
So this is the pseudocode for number 5 or problem number 5. First, we input x and then initialize 0 to the max and 0 to the counter. While the counter is less than x, do input y. While y is less than 0, do input y and then end while. Y in this part asks the user to input y again because the program will ignore the negative integer. And in this part, the program asks if y larger than max, then store y to the max, and then counter is plus by 1. This while will be n if the counter has same value with the x. So if the user has input the x number in this y, so the program will print the max.
So now we will continue to number 6. So in this number, the program receives input of an integer n. After that, the program asks the user to enter n integers. The output of the program is the number of odd numbers and the sum of all odd numbers entered by the user. So what we have to do in this case, first we ask the user to input an integer, let's just name it n. After that, the user have to put another numbers, as many as the n integers. And then the output we have to give is that what are the odd numbers that the user input, and then the sum of all odd numbers that the user input.
So this is the number 5 flowchart or problem number 5. First, we start the flowchart and then initialize this. Store 0 to sum odd, store 0 to the sum, and store 0 to the counter. And ask the user to input number. We name it as x. And then this decision asks, is the counter less than or equal than x? If yes, the user must input number again. We name it as y. And then the program asks, is y modulo 2 equal to 0? If yes, counter plus 1. And if no, sum odd plus 1 and sum plus y. Why we use modulo 2 equal to 0? Because is y modulo 2 not equal to 0, that means the y is not an odd number. And then the flowchart will going in here again and x again. Is the counter less or equal to x? If no, the program will be print some odd and some, and then the program will stop.
So now I will explain about the pseudocode. First of all, we initialize the sum odd, sum, and counter as 0. And then we ask the user to input a number. And then, like the flowchart, while counter is not greater than x or equal than x, then we run the flowchart below. Why is that? Because as long as the counter is not the same or even larger than the x we input before, then it will always ask for another input. We call it here as y. And then input y, and we take decision if y mod 2 equals to 1, then that means y mod 2 equals to 1, that means the number is odd. So the sum odd, we store the sum odd plus 1 to sum odd, and then sum plus y to sum. Why? Because the output was supposed to be the sum odd of the input, and then the sum of the input. And then if this already happened, we end if, and then we add the counter. So as long as the counter is not equal to x, it will always run this program. And then after it equals to x, it will print the sum odd and sum.
So this is the question number 8. The program asks the user to enter a positive integer. The output is to list all the factors of the number. So, if the user entered a positive integer, example number 3, the output will be all the factors. The factors of number 3 is 1 and 3. So the output must 1 and 3.
So this is the flowchart for question number 8. First of all, we start with the flowchart and then ask the user to input the S, and then we store 1, 2 factors. Why we use 1 and not 0 like the other and the previous number? So the reason is that because the the smallest number that comes from a factor is 1 and not 0. That's why we use 1, and then we use decision to ask is the factors less than or equal to ask. Is if yes, if it's not the same as the x yet, then we the program will give a decision again. Is x mod the factors equal to 1? If yes, it will print the factors, and then no matter if it yes or no, it will always go to store factors plus 1 to the factors, and then it will change over here, right? And then it will again, if the factors is still not equal to x, it will always run this side, and then until the factors is equal to the x, and then the program will stop.
So this is the pseudocode for number 8. First, we input x and then store 1 to the factor as initialized. Why you use this factor? Because this factor have a function for list the factors later. While the factor is less or equal to x, do if x modulo factors equal to 0. If yes, then print factor. And if. And then we plus factors with 1. Why we don't use else? Because if the x modulo factors equal to 0, answer is yes or no, it doesn't matter because the flowchart will keep going in this part. That is a factor plus 1. And this flowchart will end if the factor is larger or not equal to x.
Okay, so now we will continue to question number 9. The program asks the user to enter a positive integer, and then the output will be the number of factors of the number. And then we create the flowchart and pseudocode for this case. So what we have to do in this number is that we ask the user to input a positive integer. And then with that number, we will find the number of factors of the number. Let's just say the user input number 3, and then 3 has factors 1 and then 3. So the output will be 2 because there are two factors of the number 3.
So, so this is flowchart for the number 9. We start the flowchart and store 0 to NOF or the number of the factor. Store 1 to the counter. We call it as initialize. We ask the user to input x. This decision is counter less than or equal to x? If yes, we ask is x mod counter equal to 0? If yes, we add an OF with 1. And if no, we plus 1 counter. And then we'll be looping until the counter is not less than or equal to x. So the result of this decision, is it yes or no, it will be going to counter plus 1. And then will be print NOF. So if you input number 3, the, the print will be 1 and 3.
So now I will explain about the Suna code. First of all, we initialize the NOF and the counter. We store 0 to NOF and then we store 1 to counter. And then we input the number, and then while counter is less or equal to 0, to x I'm sorry, do if x mod counter equals to 0, then we store NOF plus 1 to NOF, and then we end this if, and we the flowchart or pseudocode will go to counter plus 1, we store it to counter, and then we end this while and we print the NOF or number of factors.
We continue to the question number 10. The problem is the program asks the user to enter a positive integer. The output is to determine whether the number is prime or not. So if you are the user and you are input a positive integer, example like 7, the output will be prime number because prime number is the number who can only divided by number 1 and the number itself. So this is the flowchart for the number 10. First we start the flowchart and then input x. As initialized, we store 2 to y and 0 to d. Why we store 2 to the y? Because 2 is the smallest prime number. In this decision, is x less than or equal to 1? If yes, we store d plus 1 to d. This decision, is d larger than 0? If yes, print not prime. Why this flowchart directly print not prime? Because Number 2 is the smallest prime number and 2 is even number. So if the x less than 2, so the x must be not a prime number. So we continue. If this decision, no, this is will be decision again. X is y less than x. If yes, is x modulo y equal to 0? If yes, we store the 2 plus 1 to the d. Why we do this? Because y x modulo y equal to 0, it means that was the even number. Meanwhile, the prime number is a number that only can divided by number 1 or the number itself. So whether this yes or no, the flowchart will be going to this y plus 1 and start to y. And this will be looping. Why? Because the y less than x is never will be never stop until the y is not less than x. And then we go in here and y will be print prime because d never be 0 because the d plus 1 store d only happen if x modulo y equal to 0. If not equal to 0, that means the number is prime and then print prime and then the flowchart is stopped.
So now I will explain the pseudocode. First of all, we ask the user to input a number, and then we store 2 to y, we store 0 to d, and then we use decision if x is less or equal to 1, then while y is less than 0, do if x mod y equal to 0, then we store d plus 1 to d, and then else we store y plus 1 to y, and then we end this if, we end the while, and then for this if we put the else, we store d plus 1 to the d, and then we end those if, and then we make another if d greater than 0, then print not prime, but if d not greater than 0, print prime.
Okay, guys, hello again. So, this is the first part that we talk about. Yay!
Yes, so this is the question number 7. Why we put this number on the end of this video? Because the problem number 7 is the important question.
Okay, so now I will read the problem. A program will run continuously asking the user to enter an integer and when it will only stop if the user enters a negative integer. The program outputs are the largest positive integer, the average, and the smallest positive integer entered by the user. If the user never enters a positive integer at all, the program output is showing number 0 for all the three requested information. Now Kaila will explain about the flowchart.
So this is the flowchart for number 7. First, we start the flowchart. And then we initialize x stored to the max, x stored to the min, 0 stored to counter, 0 stored to the main, and 0 stored to the sum. And the program asks the user to input number, we call it x. And then the number will ask, is x larger or equal to 0? If yes, x again, is counter equal to 0? If yes, we store or process max equal to min and equal to x. And if counter not equal to 0, there will be a decision again and asks if is x larger than max. If yes, store x to the max, and if no, if we decision again is x larger than the mean. If yes, we will process in here. We add sum with x and store to the sum and counter plus 1 sort to the counter. And if the x not larger than the minus, we store x with the min. I'm sorry, I mean minimum. Okay, guys, in this part we'll be looping. The looping happen if the user input a positive integer number and will stop looping if the user entered negative integer. So if the user input or enter the negative integer, the program will ask is counter larger than 0? If yes, we process sum divided by counter and store it to the main. If counter not larger than 0, we process max equal to min, equal to main, and equal to 0. And then the two branch from this decision will print max, min, and main. And then we stop the flowchart.
Okay, so now I will explain about the Sudoku. First of all, we initialize the max, min, counter, main, and sum. We store all these zero to max, min, counter, main, and sum. But it should be noted that these are different things even though we initialize it with zero. And then we ask the user to input x, and while that x is larger or equal to 0, we will do this program if counter equal to 0, then max equal to min equal to x. That means the x will be stored to min and also max. But if the counter is not equal to 0, then we will have another decision, which is if x larger than max, then we store the x to max, and then we end if. So we put another decision. If x is less than min, then we store x to min and end. And then after these two if and, we use this process. We store sum plus x to sum and then counter plus 1 to counter. And then we ask the user to input another x or another number. So as long as this input is not larger or equal to 0, it will always run this program. And then if counter is larger than 0, then we store sum divided by counter to main, and if else, we store 0 to main, and also to min, also to max, and if. That's all from us.
Don't forget to like and comment. Bye bye.